special guest, Andrew Muhammed, the investigator. You spend a lot of time in schools, talking to young people, inspiring them to be great and also to know more about their history. This point that we've just been talking about here about tokenism, what do you feel about that?
Well, I totally agree with what you stated originally, to be honest with you. When I saw the news and I saw the different manifestos being presented, I noticed that absence of the African or Caribbean community. And it hits me because as young people, they don't appreciate that it is, if they were the images there, that may be tokenism. As far as they're concerned, we're not in the political picture at all.
But to what extent do the images matter? Because surely what matters is what's written down in black and white.
Yeah, well, it goes back to the point I made earlier that as far as young people, which is mainly the people that I work with, as far as they're concerned, they have no dreams of being in politics, full stop, because they just don't see themselves, whether it's imagery or in words, they just don't see themselves being allocated any type of coverage at all. They see themselves being voiceless.
Can I just say something? When I said about being colourblind, and I suppose what I'm trying to say in a deeper sense is that I don't expect any better of these people.
Totally.
Do you understand what I mean?
Totally.
So when I don't see black people there, I don't sit there going, why don't we have more there? I think to myself, we should be doing something else.
More substance.
Because why are we constantly bemoaning the fact that we know these people don't want us?
Yeah.
In that sense, that's how I look at it. So I understand it from a young person's perspective. You don't see yourself represented. You know, you don't feel an affinity, and you feel excluded from the conversation. So yeah, suppose we should be pushing more for it. But the fact is, we've got race on the agenda a lot, I believe, and it's being ignored by these people, willfully ignored. So I kind of feel like I ignore them.
The sad issue, though, sister, you made some great points there, but the sad issue is this, that we had a little political debate among some youngsters, aged approximately between 14 to 21, and to be honest with you, we don't appreciate how the media has filled their minds with their so-called political beliefs. You know, all they're really talking about is about the immigration situation, while we're letting foreigners come into our country, take our jobs, whatever.
And who is a foreigner as well? Because sometimes the word foreigner or immigrant gets applied to people who are second, third, fourth generation.
Yes.
How many generations you have to live in before you're not an immigrant?
And to be honest with you, I was quite shocked, to be honest with you, and disappointed, because the way I was thinking, I was listening to, and they were being honest. That's what I loved about it, and they were being very honest. But however, if I thought to myself, if I closed my eyes and took myself back to the 70s listening to that same conversation, it'd be like listening to the National Front. But yet it was black boys and black girls expressing these same views. So somehow the media or whatever it may be has literally drifted our young boys and girls into thinking very right-wing without even appreciating.
But isn't it a catch-22 situation? Because Operation Black Vote at the moment is saying there's only 14 days to go to registration. Now, as Alex has mentioned there, a lot of young people, particularly of black and ethnic minority sort of heritage, are not particularly interested in politics. If we're not interested in politics, then we're not going to get involved, and we're not going to change it. How can that circle be broken?
Well, I personally make a massive call out to all so-called black leaders in our community. I think that really we need to come together and have an operation of self-help, self-reliance, because you see, it's not about going to the with a begging bowl to the government saying, look, we need handouts. I think that's what you're talking about in terms of tokenism. I think we need a new type of discussion when it comes to politics, and it's more about what's our agenda in our black community. And if these political parties buy into our agenda, then we can work with that political party. And I think that our leaders, regardless of their political persuasions, need to come together and set out a black agenda that we in the community can support.